How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're looking at a fall photo that I have from a few weeks ago that I captured here in northern Utah and kind of down in the Provo area, if you're familiar. And we have a big drone pano that we're going to be putting together today. So we're going to go through this process of stitching everything in Lightroom and doing some of our basic exposure edits. And then we're gonna take it into Photoshop and do a little bit of dodging and burning and some post-processing in Photoshop. So let's jump right into the computer and get started. So as you can see, we have this first image here. And if you look down to the bottom of our screen, we've got these 4 images right here. So the first thing that we're going to do is get these all stitched together. So I'm going to highlight. I'm going to click on our first image here, which is the bottom of our frame, and I'm going to hold down Shift and then click on this last one, which is the top of our frame. You can see in the top left corner there, and we're going to come up to our Photo tab, hit Photo Merge and Panorama, and we're going to let it do its thing, let it load that pano, and then we're going to look at some of our options here. Okay, that one's not good. That one's really not good. That's a little bit better. Nope. Okay, so I think we're gonna go with this one. We're gonna put on the cylindrical projection, and then we're gonna make sure our boundary warp is at 100, because if it's not, it kind of warps everything kind of like a rainbow, and we don't want to do that. It just kind of looks weird. Looks like we're kind of looking at a one of those 360 cams. Make sure our boundary warp is at 100, and that gives us a slightly flatter horizon. We can even adjust that in post if we need to, but I kind of like how this looks. Actually, let's check out perspective. That's not bad. Maybe we'll stick with perspective. I do like perspective quite a bit. So I like that perspective isn't so rounded at the top. So we'll do perspective, and I think we'll probably keep the boundary warp down on this one. Make sure auto crop is on. Auto cropping, because when it's doing these panos and when it's merging everything, it kind of warps stuff. And so if you have auto crop on, it'll crop it all that white, and then we'll hit merge, and we'll let it merge. That'll take just a minute. All right, so we have our merged pano right here. So now what we're gonna do, it already did some auto adjustments for us. So we're just gonna kind of go from where it left us off at. So I'm gonna drop my exposure down just a little bit, just because we're looking a little bright up at the top. And I want to see if this is something about this didn't look very sharp. I mean, it is a drone photo, but okay, never mind. It looks good. Something was looking a little off about it. So okay, I like that general exposure up there. Bring up our shadows just a little bit. And to keep our highlights down, and drop that so it blacks a little bit. I'm gonna kind of maybe boost the clarity just slightly, and then I'm gonna come down here to the color tab. I'm gonna pull some of these blues out, and yeah, that's looking better. It just looks way too HDR if we have these heavy blues like that. So we're gonna pull the saturation down on some of those blues. I think we'll leave the luminance. I think that's fine right there. Yeah. Let's play some of the orange and yellow tones. Kind of pull some of these up a little bit. I don't know about that yellow. The red just a little bit. Maybe add slight saturation. We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to be one of those guys. Might warm up these greens just a little bit. Add a little yellow to that green hue. And nope, and nope. Don't like that at all. Okay, so this actually gives me a pretty good starting spot to pull this into Lightroom, or excuse me, pull this into Photoshop and do a bunch of dodging and burning there. So we'll do all of our masks and everything in Photoshop. So we're gonna Command E, and it's gonna pull us over into Photoshop. We'll let that boot up. All right, so here we are in Photoshop. So first thing that I always like to do is I like to create a couple duplicates of this layer, and that's just hitting Command J. So I have my background layer, then I have a base layer here that I'm going to use for all of my landscape, and then I have a layer that I'm going to use for the sky. So first thing I'm going to do is select my sky, come down here, sky. Okay, that looks like it did a pretty good job. And selected mask. One thing that is nice about not having any clouds in the sky is that it typically does a pretty good job at masking out. So, all right, output layer mask, hit OK. Okay, so now we have a mask on our sky. So first thing that I want to do is I'm going to do a curves adjustment on this bottom layer. Whoa, what is it doing? We're going to hit Command Z, undo that. Duplicated it for some reason. So I'm hitting Option, and then I am connecting that adjustment layer to my bottom layer. Okay, so now this curves layer is only going to affect that bottom layer. I'm just gonna kind of mess with this just a little bit. Don't want to get too much. Actually, I might get this up slightly. Okay, I'm gonna do a levels. And this is just, I'm gonna kind of do a targeted adjustment here, and I'm gonna try to bring up some of the exposure of this more shadowy area. Just like that. I'm gonna bring some of those darks in just a little bit again. Nope. I wanna do that. Okay, I'm gonna invert this, Command I, and then I'm going to make sure my brush is on white, turn my opacity up. And then I'm going to just kind of paint in that levels adjustment. Okay, before, after. Very slight, very subtle. Cool, I actually really like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna do some dodging and burning. So I'm gonna create a layer here. Make sure that I hit Option and connect that. And I want my blend mode to be on overlay because we're going to do some bright highlight spots, and make sure my brush is set to this warm peachy color. Turn my opacity down to probably about 15. Make sure that my hardness is at 0%. It's just how I like to have it. And we're going to start targeting some of these brighter areas. Actually, I might. Do I want to? No, not yet. Okay. Just hitting some of these brighter areas. Just brightening up what's already pretty bright. So we're being kind of loose with this, not being super targeted. We'll do another targeted adjustment here in a minute. I'm gonna hit some of these sections right here. Just kind of bring up a little bit more of this area where all these trees are. Ridge. Mainly trying to target these spots where that sun is hitting. And then maybe some of these red spots too, try to pull out a little bit more of that red. Maybe some of this, these canyon walls here. Pull out a little bit of that road a little bit more, maybe. Okay, we'll go before, after. I think that's cool. I like that. So, you know what? This may be a fairly simple edit. We may not have too much to do. So, let's see. We're gonna do a burn layer. Normal, we're gonna go to soft light, make sure our brush is set to black, and we'll come down, we'll just hit some of these. We don't wanna do anything too crazy just because realistically we're not gonna have that many dark spots with some of this mountain being so far away. So we're just going to darken a little bit here and there just to kind of create a little bit of contrast, a little bit of texture. Just little bits and pieces, nothing crazy. Okay, so we'll do it before, after, very, very subtle. Nothing real crazy with that. Let's do, I really want to try to bring out some of these reds that are in here. So let's do a vibrancy mask or adjustment. And let's see if we can, I don't want to do too much. I want this to be really targeted. I don't know, maybe we'll do that. I'm gonna Command I, invert this, and I'm gonna paint in the areas that I want that vibrancy to hit. So, which is gonna be mainly right here in this kind of shadowy area. Because there's all these red trees in here, but you can't see them because of the way that the drone is handling those shadows. So, but I don't want to do anything too crazy. I don't want this to actually look like a pile of Skittles. So even though it in certain light it does, but let's see. Well, that's not too bad. Okay, so we have before, after. There's really not much that's done on that. It's so subtle you barely even notice it. It's almost pointless to do that, for being really honest, but let's see. I want to try one more thing for those shadow areas. Do another curves layer here. Oh, this will probably do it right here. All right, we're gonna invert that into here, and we're going to paint that in. Actually, gonna turn our flow up just a little bit, just to speed up this process. Ooh, we may have overdone that. Just that section, just a little bit. Okay, we got some weird pinks in there now that we gotta deal with, but we're not gonna do that just yet. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a selective color adjustment, and I'm just gonna play with some of these colors real quick. So where do those magentas go? Magentas. Let's turn those warmer. There we go. Okay, so right now we're targeting these more peachy colors, or not peachy, these more like pinky colors. So we're turning them. We're taking that color, that kind of magenta color, and we're infusing more yellow into those and making those a lot warmer. And then just a little bit more white just to bring them up just a little bit. Maybe we'll tone down the magenta. I actually don't know if I like that. Maybe them cyan. That's just gonna make them pink again, kind of reddish. Okay, I think that's good right there. Yeah, I think I like that. So, yeah, not as pink, which you don't see pink trees in real life. So that's kind of the key with all this, is it's like, what do you see in real life? You know, just keeping in mind, at least, you know, if that's what your style is, if you're looking to get a photo that's more true to life, or an edit that's more true to life, just think about, you know, little things like that. Like, you don't see pink trees in real life. So Okay, well that is looking good. I don't know that we're gonna do too much to the sky. Maybe just like, oops, let me attach that. There we go. Maybe, I don't know, because then we're kind of blowing it out. So I think maybe we'll just keep it like that. Just a slight curves adjustment before, after. Nothing too crazy. Now we're getting into the styling area of the edit, where I'm going to start stylizing this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do a normal layer here, and I'm going to take my brush, make it as big as I can, and turn the opacity down. We'll do 12%, flow down, and I'm going to do just some slight hazing of this background a little bit. It's taking a second to catch up. Very slow. I'm going to kind of fill in somewhat of a sun hit right there on the side of that frame. So, and before, after. Right now I'm using this kind of peachy color. Let's do a little bit more actually. Let's just go like, there we go. That's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna take this color, turn it to white, and then I'm gonna just go slightly off screen here and just create a little bit more of a light hit. Nothing real intense. You could do this with a radial mask as well, but I'm just using a brush. So cool. Well, I think I like that. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna do something here. Oh crap. I'm gonna do something here that I normally don't do, but I'm gonna create another dodge layer. Go to overlay, and then I'm gonna come down here to this road. I'm gonna kind of accentuate this road a little bit, so I'm gonna create a tiny little brush here, and I'm gonna just brush along this road just ever so slightly. Let's see if we're even doing anything. Just a little bit. Let's bump up the opacity just to speed this up. Oh, 22. Yeah, there we go. Because this road is somewhat of a focal point, so I would like to try to accentuate it if I can. So just brightening it up without being real obvious that this is what we're doing. We don't want people looking at a photo and being like, oh, he made that road brighter. So we're just gonna be real subtle with it. Which I think that's probably good right there. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can see it enough that I think that's good. So, okay, we are going to combine all these together. So I'm clicking this bottom layer, scrolling up, hitting Shift, the layer on that top layer, and then I'm hitting Command, Option, Shift, and E, and I'm combining all those together. And now, let's see, what do I want to do? I think I'm actually going to take this into Camera Raw and just do a couple gradient filters real quick. I think we're good on everything else here. So let's do our filter. We'll do a radial gradient and make something real big here. Invert it, zoom out so we see what we're doing. And let's lower that feather. And we don't want to do anything real heavy here, but just gonna do a slight vignette. Very, very slight. Don't want to do anything real heavy because then it'll look weird. Before, after. That's pretty good. It's not too bad. Maybe increase that feather a little bit because we don't want it to look like that because that looks weird. Okay, maybe we'll do a slight one on the sky. So we're gonna do a linear gradient. I'm gonna drop it down. I'm actually going to intersect this with the sky so that we're not selecting this mountain at all. And then I'm going to just drop my exposure just a little bit. Might actually drag that down slightly, a bit more. There we careful because we have a weird little line up here and I don't want to make that too obvious. So, okay, well, before, after, very, very slight adjustment. I'm going to come to my color mixer, just make sure that I have all my colors how I want them. I think that's pretty good right there. We could bump our oranges just a little bit, maybe bring down the yellows. And I might actually do another little radial gradient here and just warm up this area. So I'm going to pull my feather all the way to 100 and then maybe target this just so it hits this area where all that light's coming from. And we're just going to hit the temperature just ever so slightly. Don't want anything crazy because we don't want nuclear orange color. Okay, before, after. I think that's pretty good. Might hit color grading, add a little bit of blue to our shadows. Do I like that? I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do or not. Let's just keep it really subtle because we do need a little bit more blue in our shadow, but maybe ever so slightly in the mid-tones. I feel like that's looking messy actually. Okay, I think that's fine. I think that looks all right. You know what? I might actually like this more without that vignette. Yeah, I think I'm gonna delete this this radial gradient. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's just don't be afraid to try things because you can always undo them. So yeah, I like that better without that that gradient on the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna hit OK. Okay, so I'm gonna take this layer, duplicate it, and I'm gonna do a little Orton effect. So I have my duplicated layer here. I'm gonna come up to filter. I'm gonna hit blur, Gaussian blur. Maybe we bump this up closer to 40 because we were shooting that with the 48 megapixel camera on the drone. We'll hit OK. And I'm gonna come to image, adjustments, brightness, contrast. I'm gonna jack the contrast up and maybe the brightness too, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna come to image, color balance. I'm gonna have those glowy highlights be warmer. You don't wanna have cool glowy highlights. It doesn't really make sense. Okay. And then I'm gonna hit our luminosity mask. I'm gonna do lights 1. That's gonna hit all my little bright spots. Everything that's white there is where it's targeting. Okay, so now it's real glowy. We're gonna turn our blend mode to soft light. Opacity, I like to keep it around 35, at least for this style of Gaussian blur. Okay, I like that. We're gonna combine these two. We have our camera raw filter layer and our Gaussian blur layer. I'm gonna hit Command Option Shift E, combine both of those, and then I'm gonna come up here to filter, other. I'm gonna do a little high pass filter, keep it very, very subtle. Let's keep it at 1.7. I think that's fine. Maybe we'll go 2, just because it's smaller details. We'll hit OK, and then we'll do blend mode, soft light. Okay, so now I have a much sharper image. Okay, so I think I like that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select everything. I'm gonna go from my top layer down to my bottom layer. I'm gonna shift, then I'm gonna control click, flatten image. Okay, then I'm gonna hit Command W. We're gonna hit save and put this back over into Lightroom. Okay, so there we have our final image back into Lightroom. So I think what I'm gonna do, just as a final little touch, is I'm gonna do a little curves adjustment here, just bring those down just a little bit. Bring up that highlight portion, just add a little bit of slight contrast. I'm going to bring up this bottom part. This is something that I just like to do. In all of my photos, at the very, very end, I'll take this curves and I will bring up the bottom of my adjustment up to about 4 or 5 and just raise the shadows a little bit. So very, very slight, but okay. I think that's about it. So I like this a lot. Let me know what you think. If there's something that you would have done better, or I don't know, maybe you would have taken the photo better. I really like this. I think the composition's pretty cool. I like that it has this lit up ridge is kind of a leading line up into the middle of the frame, and it's kind of dotted with some of these fall colors and these maple trees that are all red and orange, and then you have Mount Timpanogos up here in the background. I think it works pretty well. And I normally don't love having blank skies, but I think with this shot, a blank sky actually works all right. So I like this a lot. But let me know what you think. So we're gonna leave that there for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and leave a like and a comment, and let me know your thoughts on this image. And if you have anything that you would have done different, then yeah, let me know. But in the meantime, I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.